The rise of a digital leader. Noah Vance appeared on the internet almost suddenly. At first, his videos were simple motivational clips, short messages about confidence, success, and self-improvement. He spoke directly to the camera. His voice was calm, his tone was confident, his eye contact felt personal. When Noah spoke, it felt like he was speaking directly to the viewer. His followers often wrote the same comment: "It feels like he understands me." Within a short time, Noah's audience exploded. Millions of followers on YouTube, millions more across TikTok and Instagram. His videos spread quickly because they touched something emotional. He didn't just give advice, he gave people the feeling that they were seen. And in the digital world, that feeling is extremely powerful. But Noah's influence wasn't just charisma. His real power was something else. He understood exactly how human emotions work. Hannah discovers the channel. Hannah Reed was a 27-year-old content designer living in New York. Her life looked stable from the outside, but internally she felt lost. Work felt exhausting. Her relationships felt distant, and she wasn't sure what direction her life was going. One night, while scrolling on her phone, she saw one of Noah's videos. In the video, Noah said, "If you feel empty inside, it's not because you're weak. It's because the world trained you to live someone else's life." Hannah watched the entire video, then another one, and another. Noah's words felt powerful. They made her feel understood. But there was something else hidden in his message, something subtle. His videos didn't just inspire her, they also made her feel slightly uncomfortable. Almost like he was touching a wound first, and then offering himself as the person who could heal it. At first, Hannah didn't question this, because manipulation rarely feels aggressive. Often, it feels comforting. Emotional triggers. Hannah eventually noticed a pattern in Noah's videos. Every video followed the same emotional structure. First, Noah created a problem. Most people waste their lives living for other people. Then he created fear. If you don't wake up now, 10 years from today, you won't even recognize yourself. And finally, he offered hope. But if you're watching this video, there's still time to change. This pattern is extremely powerful psychologically, because the brain reacts strongly to threats. When someone first creates anxiety and then offers a solution, the mind becomes attached to that person. Without realizing it, the viewer begins trusting them more. Hannah noticed something strange about her own feelings. After watching Noah's videos, she felt two opposite emotions. She felt worse about her life, but she also wanted to watch more of his videos. It was confusing, but this emotional cycle is actually a well-known psychological strategy. Destabilize, then reassure, then repeat. Fear as a tool. As Noah's audience grew, his messages slowly became darker. He started talking about the world as if it was working against his followers. He said things like, "Most people around you don't want you to grow. Your friends may secretly fear your success. The system prefers average people." At first, these messages sounded motivating, but they had a deeper effect. They created suspicion. Followers began questioning the intentions of people around them. Friends, family, co-workers. And every time this doubt appeared, Noah gave the same answer. That's why this community exists. This is where people like us belong. This technique is extremely powerful because fear pushes people toward groups. And when someone becomes emotionally connected to a group, they also become connected to the group's leader. Identity manipulation. But Noah's strongest technique wasn't fear, it was identity. He didn't just give advice, he gave his followers a new way to see themselves. He often said, "We are different. We see the truth others ignore. We are not average people." These sentences are not random. Psychologically, they create a special identity. People begin believing they are part of a unique group. a group that understands something others do not. And when someone begins defining themselves through a group, they also become loyal to the person who created that identity. Noah wasn't just building followers, he was building a psychological tribe. And within that tribe, he was the central authority. One day, Hannah noticed something strange. During a conversation with friends, she caught herself thinking, "They just don't understand." The moment the thought appeared, she froze, because that sentence sounded familiar. It wasn't her original thought. It was something Noah had repeated many times. And suddenly, Hannah felt uneasy. The dependency cycle. Noah's content system was extremely consistent. Daily short videos, weekly long videos, live streams, exclusive communities, private paid groups. Followers began structuring their routines around Noah's content. They watched his videos every morning. They listened to his advice before making decisions. Some even said his content had become part of their daily routine. Noah often told his audience something interesting. If you stop listening to the right voices, you will slowly return to your old life. This sentence sounds harmless, but psychologically it sends a clear message. Without this guidance, you will fail. And that is how dependency forms. The viewer stops trusting their own judgment. Instead, they begin relying on the external voice. One morning, Hannah realized something unsettling. She had started her day without watching Noah's latest video, and she felt strangely uncomfortable, almost like she had forgotten something important. That moment frightened her. She asked herself a difficult question. Am I learning from him or depending on him? The pattern becomes clear. That night, Hannah began watching Noah's oldest videos. Videos from 2 years ago, 1 year ago, recent uploads, different topics, different examples, different stories. But the structure never changed. Create emotional discomfort, introduce fear, offer belonging, return to Noah as the guide. The pattern was almost mathematical. This wasn't spontaneous inspiration. It looked like a designed psychological system. The hidden background. Curious, Hannah began researching Noah's background. Old interviews, podcast appearances, university talks. Eventually, she discovered something surprising. Before becoming an influencer, Noah had studied behavioral psychology and persuasion techniques. Even more interesting, his graduate thesis focused on identity-based loyalty in digital communities. Hannah stared at the screen. Everything suddenly made sense. Noah wasn't just charismatic. He had studied exactly how to influence human behavior, and he had turned that knowledge into a content strategy. The shocking truth. But the real twist appeared later. Through an online forum, Hannah contacted someone who had once worked inside Noah's private community. The former member agreed to talk anonymously. What they revealed was disturbing. Before publishing videos, Noah's team tested audience reactions, fear responses, loneliness triggers, motivation cycles. Different emotional patterns were analyzed. Then, content was designed to trigger the strongest reactions. In other words, followers weren't just viewers. They were part of a psychological feedback system. The goal wasn't simply motivation. The goal was emotional engagement. Trigger emotion, relieve emotion, trigger emotion again. This cycle created something extremely powerful: psychological dependency. And dependency keeps audiences coming back. The awakening. The next morning, Hannah opened her phone. Noah had uploaded a new video. The title read, "Watch this if everyone around you is holding you back." Once, that title would have pulled her in immediately. But now something had changed. She could see the pattern. She could see the emotional trigger. She understood the psychological strategy. For the first time in months, she didn't press play. She closed her phone and took a deep breath. Because the moment manipulation becomes visible, its power begins to weaken. Again and again. Protecting your mind online. In the digital world, influence can travel faster than ever before. One voice, millions of listeners, and sometimes that influence can be positive, but sometimes it can quietly reshape how people think. Emotional triggers, fear messaging, identity creation, dependency cycles. These techniques exist everywhere in the online world. That doesn't mean every influencer is manipulative, but it reminds us of something important. The strongest protection in the digital age is awareness. Because when someone speaks through a screen, they may be inspiring you, or they may be shaping your thoughts. And the difference between influence and control is sometimes harder to see than we think.